I'm
You
ready.
David?
David,
Yeah.
maybe. I know a lot of David.
Oh, Dave. We got a David trying to join. So, um,
Oh, I think that's my dad.
okay, cool. It's like, um, my usual question is if you could briefly introduce yourself and then explain why you're picking this particular, food to share with all of us. We've got a few people from a few different states so far.
Let me know when you're ready.
Go for it.
Okay. Hi, my name is Chaya. I have a degree in advanced culinary arts as well as food science. My main goal in life is to reduce carbon footprints as well as help other people with their food insecurity issues. I'm choosing this particular recipe because most of these items I received from the food pantry or from local community members in the Buy Nothing Carbondale group. This is a delicious meal based off of simple ingredients, and it should be relatively easy to make and prep and cook.
That's in the years past, this has always been my favorite. Get a box of food from the food pantry and gourmet it up. Just like
Yes.
how to take, the things that are considered, I don't know, almost the throwaway food or the food you just have sitting around.
Mm-hmm.
We actually did one cooking show that we just went into the fridge and made Suzanne made what was it? Simple, fine. Oh, I just forgot. It had a cuss word in it. Um, oh, damn fine, simple ass soup. There you go. It just like, and everybody made a different soup. There was like 6 or 8 of us cooking, and every one of them came out phenomenal according to the person trying it. So, um,
Right.
let's go over the ingredients and what want to make.
Okay. So the first ingredient we're doing is citrus marinated chicken. So what I have here are some grapefruits that I received from the pantry. If you don't have access to a grapefruit, the reason why I labeled it as citrus is because any citrus will really work. You can use an orange or a lemon if you have those available.
I mean, I
Um,
suppose if you've got an acid, you could even use lemon juice or vinegar.
yep, absolutely. Lemon juice, vinegar will work. But if you use one of the stronger acids, you will probably want to add a little bit more sugar because these have a natural sugar in them. So it's already going to be a little bit sweeter. And you did mention that these are sweet grapefruits. So you do want to offset. You can taste it and, make those adjustments as you need to.
I mean, if you
Um,
marinate chicken long enough, it's almost cooked. Really, I've seen it where it was. You just needed to like give it a quick grill. It was so tender.
ceviche.
All right, so
Um, so that's for the marinade. I also didn't realize I don't have soy sauce. So what I'm going to use is just a touch of the balsamic vinegar and brown sugar and then the C&H sugar packet that I got.
wait a second. You don't
Um,
have some like soy sauce packets from eating out? Like, seems like
I only have
we all
sweet
have
and
like packets of
sour.
ketchup and soy sauce. Like,
While you guys were chatting, I was looking and all I have is ketchup and sweet and sour
I actually
and mustard.
I never eat out hardly ever. And so I've had this bag of soy sauce sitting in my
Oh my
little
gosh.
bowl on my I have a bowl of like the little packets of seasonings and I've had
Yeah.
a whole thing of soy sauce forever, but of course I
Oh
use
my God.
regular soy sauce, but it's one of those things
I
where
can,
you're like, I have it, I don't have to buy it. And
yeah, exactly. And that's why I wanted to use it, but I guess I didn't have any.
but this is
Usually I just
perfect
grab
example
handfuls.
where you use what you have.
Yeah, and do you have any right now? You can use that instead of purchasing a whole bottle.
It's just like, yeah, so well, I have one soy sauce packet. That was it.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to make that go a long way.
Just like so, yeah, I have one soy sauce packet. But
Your rations for the day.
you
Um,
So, I mean,
What?
really just trying to add a little sweet and savory to it.
Mm-hmm.
So you could,
Exactly.
I suppose if you have like maybe a little bit of apple cider vinegar or um, what else? Or um,
Maybe Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. You know how to
Mm-hmm.
pronounce it?
Worcestershire.
Just like
Worcestershire.
um,
Worcestershire.
or balsamic vinegar or
Yep.
just vinegar and a little sugar, right?
You know what I also have is some soyaki, but this one is really sweet, so I don't want to use it.
All right, so I got these
Um,
little packets of chicken and just
yeah.
um
Didn't we use something like an amino thingy in one of our last
yeah, it's like
Coconut aminos
yeah,
probably
yeah.
is an alternative version of soy sauce.
Okay.
Do you want me to go through each
look at this.
individual
Look at this. It's got
or
the little packets of chicken and this center one, all it has is a
yeah?
chunk of fat. I
Oh,
think they left one out by mistake. Oh,
so do you want me to go over the
they're
ingredients
individually
for the
wrapped, and this
whole
particular one just has a
meal?
chunk of fat in it. I'd be
That's
so
so
pissed
funny.
off if I had to buy this. This came from the food pantry. But it's just like
So do you want to do each portion individually, or do you want to go over everything as a whole and then revisit and go through each one individually?
um you mean the different recipes?
Yeah, because this is a three-part. So we just went through the ingredients for the chicken.
Yeah,
I
let's
still
just
have the
do one.
ingredients for the squash and the
Well,
potato fries.
it matters because it's part of it is how long something takes to cook. So if you like do one and get it starting cook, then you could prep and do the next one while that one's cooking.
Might I
Okay,
suggest you go through all the ingredients so anybody looking at this can
Oh
gather up
yeah.
all the ingredients
yeah,
for the 3 dishes prior? I mean, that makes sense to me.
that's
All
that's what I thought I was going to be able to do. Um, because it's pretty easy and it will cook rather quickly. But, I just went over the chicken ingredients and now I want to go over, the spices for the squash and
right.
then the potato fries. It'll be really easy. The first thing we'll do is get the chicken marinating and stuck in the fridge. And then we can turn the ovens on now if you want, 375. Get those warmed up.
Now can I could also cook this on the stovetop, right? But no, the squash you can't.
You can do both if you want. You can do the squash in a frying pan if you want.
Okay.
Just add some olive oil or whatever you want. Because essentially they will both be in the oven at the same time, just for, easy purposes.
Yeah.
So we got through the chicken. The squash is pretty much just a little bit of, I have oil missing from the recipe, but if you don't have it, that's okay. I'm going to flip my camera here. Failed to start the camera. That's fine. We don't need to do that.
It got turned off.
How do I flip it back? Oops. Oops.
You have
Um,
to describe everything you're doing or tell me what to do.
yeah, so anyways, for the seasonings for the squash, it's going to be your basic Italian seasoning. So you have thyme, oregano, basil, and paprika. I'm throwing paprika in there just for a little bit of spice.
Italian season,
Um,
paprika. I forgot what else already. I should have. Here, let me cut and paste it into the chat for the people who are cooking along while you try to figure out how to get your camera working again.
you disabled my camera.
Oh, well, then that's my fault. It's like, all right, it's back on, I think.
Beautiful, thank you. Okay, so these are my spices. This basil bar was from you. You gave me a whole bunch of basil, and I dried it in my dehydrator,
Oh, that was one of
and
the
I
local
have a whole
farmers who brought it
stash.
to the food pantry.
Yep. And then I have my little stashes there. Okay. And then for the potato fries is just the smileys. We're just gonna cook those up and
Those are
have them
just like
basically simple.
frozen like hash browns,
Mhm.
but shaped like smiley faces.
Yep. So now that we went over the recipe, does anybody have questions about the ingredients for the recipes? Okay, perfect. Let's get cooking. We're gonna take the chicken, and I have a chicken breast, so I'm not really going to do any butchering of it. I'm just gonna throw it in the marinade in the fridge. I'm gonna go ahead and put my seasonings in the bowl. And
Now, do you rinse the chicken?
no, no.
Okay, well,
That
that seems like a very common American thing.
They tell you
well,
not to do, they tell you
the,
not to do that anymore because it spreads the chicken stuff all over your sink
There you
and
go.
the
everything
huge
else.
problem with that, it causes a lot of contamination issues. So I'm gonna coat open my grapefruit and squeeze some into the bowl and get all of that nice juice out. I'm also gonna leave the peel and the rind in there because that'll add another dimension of flavor.
Ooh. Just like, do you have any trick on squeezing it?
No, I just use my man hands.
I have this fancy reamer, but that's more like for a lime.
I pretend like it's my brother's face and I'm just squishing it to death to kill him, you know.
Just
If
like,
you have any enemies,
oh man, this
use
squeeze is
that.
really easy.
Yeah, these are really nice. I love the way it smells. It's not
Oh
too
my goodness,
strong.
this smells so sweet.
Mm-hmm. I might just use brown sugar and not use any of the white sugar.
I don't know if you need any sugar. Now, one thing I have seen with lemons and stuff, really good trick is you get a teaspoon, right? Well, if I can grab a
Mm-hmm.
teaspoon, I'm grabbing teaspoons, and I have this weird um, Chinese soup spoon. But
Oh, that's fine. I have one of those I stole from the restaurant. I like the way it eats the soup.
yeah, well, I've seen them like plastic. This was the first stainless steel one. I forget where I got it. It was on one of my trips somewhere. But um, but yeah, that's you do that, and it really brings it out. See, I mean, it's squished. So you think just, I think probably just one will be enough. Or are you
Yeah, it
trying to,
depends how many you're making. I have friends over, so I added a couple extra.
are you just completely covering everything?
Yeah, the bowl might actually not be big enough. So depending on if you're able to cover the entirety of the chicken, you may want to do it in a plastic bag or a flatter, like a more flat surface, so that way the chicken can get coated.
I love the plastic bag method. You don't need very much. Or a really tall bowl. You have a taller,
Yeah,
you don't
something
need
tall and
plastic.
skinny.
All right, here we go. I'm going.
Or she threw the rinds in the bowl.
Oh, did you cut them up or you just threw the whole thing in?
I just threw the whole thing in. One second. Let me show you what I have going on right now.
Oh man, I don't generally drink grapefruit juice, but like this right here smells so sweet.
Do you
I'm,
have any grapefruits left? You can save
oh
one
yeah, I've got
and
6.
add, yeah, squeeze them out and add a little bit of water and you'll have some good juice. You can have a little flavoring there.
It's like,
But the cool thing about this is I'm anticipating a really delicious sauce because when you cook the chicken with the marinade, it's going to thicken up the consistency and you're
it
going to have a really good
has
sauce.
like one seed per. This particular one only has like one seed per half.
Yeah. So now that I have my marinade set, I'm putting the chicken into it.
Oh, I did the other one around.
That's okay.
I put the chicken in first, and then I squoze the grapefruit on top. then I knew exactly how much juice I needed. But I
Can
mean,
you repeat it? Can you repeat again what's in
completely
there?
covering the chicken almost, see?
So to that, if you have it, you add the soy sauce. In your case, you added the balsamic vinegar. What else?
Brown sugar and grapefruit.
Brown sugar,
Yeah.
but not very much. I would say.
Yeah.
I
So the
think
brown sugar, I did maybe like 3 tablespoons, but you could do less if you want. It's up to you.
instead, if the grapefruit's sweet enough, you could probably use molasses or sorghum just a little bit.
Oh
Isn't that
yeah.
because
That's
that's how you
exactly
make
what
brown sugar? Is you get just white sugar and you mix sorghum
molasses.
or molasses. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't have molasses on hand.
Well,
Right.
I only have a gallon of it.
How? You just
I
have everything.
well, I
You
mean,
know,
I bought this. I went through a period during COVID where I was making these ginger snap cookies,
yeah.
and this is right here. It's maybe a quarter of the bottle. That was hundreds of cookies. It takes it goes a long way.
Yes. All right. So, does everybody have their chicken marinating and ready to pop it in the fridge?
I think so.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna wash my hands.
I put this glove on, so that helped me.
Yeah, I used a glove. I hate touching wet, like just wet meat in any capacity.
So really, we don't
Ugh.
have. It's pretty simple. Some people way over season stuff. We just have. In my case, I just have the grapefruit juice, that one little soy packet, and maybe a tablespoon of molasses, and that's all I have in mine.
Same.
So
And
it's
I like that you're making these adjustments too, because this just shows how versatile this type of recipe is and can be. I think one of the biggest fears for people going shopping and getting ingredients is really the whole I don't know how to cook. And I think that it needs to be accessible for everybody.
very much so.
All
Yeah,
right,
I
let's move.
recently had butternut squash at the food pantry, and the people who love it were like, "Oh my god!" And then there was people who were just like, "What is that? And how do you cook it?" Which is
Yeah,
the majority of people actually.
and
But
it's squash, so it's easy, but you'd think it would be easy. But
it's hard
a
shell.
lot of people have disadvantages and they just aren't exposed to it. So that's okay. That's what we're here for.
And then a lot of
Uh,
people don't like squash itself because they've never had it taste good.
yeah. Or it's overcooked or undercooked or this or that.
Usually the overcooked mushy.
Uh,
I grew up.
hold on, I'm gonna make some fish sounds. All right. So kind of a 2-pan recipe. Are we ready to start our squash?
I am.
Okay, we'll start it. So cut off the ends, small amount.
Now it doesn't
And
matter what size. Like really big ones are just
you
fine.
know, I would do a little bit thicker.
Oh, the
Just
bigger the better.
for me personally, it's a texture thing.
A lot of
So
people, the ones they have at the stores are these little teeny cute ones. And then
what do you
I
mean?
found out if you go to the farmer's market or get them from the farmer, you can get these huge ones. Instead of it being by the pound, it's by the single one. So it'd be like 50 cents for one, or 69 cents a pound or whatever.
Are you talking about the squash?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got these from the bag in your pantry.
So the food pantry.
Yeah.
So
And so I'm cutting that.
just halving them or
I'm not done yet. No, I stopped to go grab a bowl and a couple of things.
so here we go.
Yeah, so I'm gonna half them and give crescent moon shapes. So just half and then just, what is that, like a 1/4 inch?
Oops. So you're just making crescent shapes, yeah.
Yeah.
What I learned a new word, rustic cut. I had never heard that before.
Rustic, yeah. That's my profession. You know, that's when I realized I was not going to make it as a professional chef in the kitchen industry because I refuse to make things perfect. Like, don't ask me, I won't do it. You want a
Like the
perfect
argument, what's the
quarter?
difference between a cook and a chef, right? And
Yeah.
I feel like a chef, realistically, what they do is they're very good at creating something fancy and repeating that, you know, over and over and over again, making the same thing.
Yeah, but how boring of a life would you have if that's what your life was?
Versus a cook is like, oh, let's see what we have and how can we make that into something nutritious.
Yes. Yes,
But
and you know, I think that the whole world of the restaurant industry is just highly glamorized, and people don't realize or understand how like destructive and toxic it can be to people and their mental states and
especially
just
if you're
even
trying to make the exact same thing over and over again all year round, that means you're not cooking anything in season. You're not
yeah. And so
um,
that's on
much
food
local
waste
stuff.
itself.
Although there is a trend among chefs on, you know, doing specialty stuff.
Well, do you know about Chef Alice Waters?
I don't. I'm
She's
not.
based out of Berkeley, California, and she brought the whole um, concept of farm to table to light at her restaurant Chez Panisse. And she started a educational program for kids in California, a garden, like a gardening program, and helped change the way that like the restaurant industry in California worked because she had her own garden and her chefs would go out and pick their food and they would just kind of, you know, change the menu on a daily basis based on what was available at the time.
And of
I
course, she
went
had
to
the famous restaurant Chez Panisse.
Chez Panisse, yes, exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
there you go.
And she had another chef that opened another restaurant under her name. She in LA, and I went there. I had the opportunity to go there when. Oh my basil! Oh, so and that's also farm to table. And their head chef would go out to the local farms and pick out a menu daily. And some of the downsides for that obviously is cost. It's going to be a huge cost issue for the restaurant and the consumers. But overall, there's no food waste because whatever they make that day, it gets eaten because it's so highly sought after that they don't need to worry about money because they'll make it. And that's what I personally am against because now you're exploiting the farms, you're exploiting the people for their money for something that they should be able to have at a low cost.
I just went yesterday to what you'd really consider like a fast food, you know, kind of just average restaurant. And they had like, you know, your typical salad at the beginning with some carrots and stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, these greens are amazing. And so I complimented him and he took me around. And what had happened was during COVID, nobody was sitting in their dining room. So he turned the dining room into a hydroponic growing greens and herbs. And then when they opened back up, he rented the space next door and moved his whole hydroponic space in there. And so he grows his own herbs and greens just right there on site, inside hydroponically. And I was just like, that was unexpected at just a regular restaurant. But
Yeah.
I did go to a restaurant in North Carolina that you would place your order and you could pick your protein, but everything else you wouldn't know what would be coming. It basically, they would go to the farmer's market that morning and the vegetables, the soup, the salad, would be whatever they picked up that morning at the farmer's market.
Yep, exactly.
And it would
That's
just,
a great model. Yeah.
and I want to say it was based on the cost of your protein made the dinner. It was like $20 to $40 depending on what type of protein. If you bought like a steak or, tofu or, a slice of chicken breast, it was different proteins had the meal cost different amounts, but all right.
Yeah.
Slice, I don't know. I think that's like 4 squash.
All right. How is everybody? I have my squash cut up and seasoned and put nicely in a pan.
I do not have it seasoned. Now, did you put oil on it first or season it?
Nope, I just seasoned it directly.
Okay, and I forgot what seasonings we got. Italian seasoning.
Yeah, Italian, which is basil, oregano, thyme, and paprika. Just a touch of paprika. I'm a baby. I can't do spicy.
Yeah, I love like the smoked paprika. I absolutely love that. Oops. Except it's clumping up. Where's mine?
Wait, did you put your seasonings together and mix them first? Or are you just pouring it directly onto the squash?
Well, I haven't started yet, but I was pour it directly onto the squash.
Okay. Sorry, I must have missed that instruction. I put it all in a bowl and then
Okay.
I poured it onto the squash.
Got it. I'll do that.
And that helps prevent exactly what you mentioned with the seasonings clumping up.
Well, in my case, I have this. So on the top, if you can see the difference in color, the top is a local smoked paprika that came in little containers. And I dumped it in here. And then the bottom is, your typical Hungarian smoked paprika. And so the top one is kind of clumpy.
Oh, that's what's clumping. Okay, I'm looking at it on the
Containers.
computer, so I see what you're doing now.
Yeah. So, all right. Now I really like thyme, so I think I'll throw in some za'atar, which
Ooh, that's a good idea.
za'atar is just toasted thyme and sesame seeds.
Yeah.
That's so all right. That's it. I guess you go ahead and I'll take me a second because I always make tons of food, but you didn't put any oil on it at all.
No, I didn't.
Huh.
Why? Because I don't want it soggy.
Yeah, when I roast vegetables, I always did a quick coat of oil and then put the herbs on it. But
You can do that. That's okay. If you see, look at how well coated this one is, and there was no oil. Because
yeah,
this squash was pretty juicy already as it was. And I feel the opposite. I feel that adding oil will make it slippery, and so the seasonings don't.
yeah,
But yeah,
I mean, that's really well coated.
yeah,
Yeah,
it looks
I'd
great.
have
Look
to
at that.
get them a little wet first and then.
I think it depends on the preparation as well, because you can salt your squash and that'll drain out the water, and then you can add the oil back in.
All right. I preheated the oven, but I forgot to say what temperature. I think it was 375.
Yeah. 350 to 75.
All right. And how long's what would you consider the ideal length of time to marinate the chicken?
It's, ideally overnight, but we're gonna do this in like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it when it's overnight, the chicken itself is just so tender. It's almost like you can just put it on the grill, flip it, and you're done.
Yeah.
You have to bring it up to temperature though, but all right. I'm ready for the next.
All right, so we're gonna pop this in.
Now you just put it really stacked it up. You don't put like a lot of times when I do roasted vegetables, I'll put it like many different pans with barely any on the pan.
Yeah. So everything's in one layer.
Okay, so then I'll need 2 pans with this one. This is too deep.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, go for it.
And then we're gonna pop this in the oven.
Oven
And
top.
then we can I only have like one shelf, so I'm putting it on one side of the oven. Um just because I want some space in there to do the chicken next. Because that's gonna be our next step.
So I'm gonna do the chicken on the stove top.
Okay, and I'm actually gonna do my fries on the stove top just
Okay.
because I didn't have space in my fridge. And so or my freezer. So they defrosted in the refrigerator. And I think it'll be easier if I fry them on the stove. But I'm now gonna take my chicken pan and have that out. I don't know what I'm gonna cook it in, to be honest with you. I don't really have much. So I think I'm gonna do it on this. Can I mute myself? Because I'm gonna wash a dish real quick.
If it's really loud, Zoom actually mutes it. Like I've had it happen before where we did a blender and we could hear what people were saying. But do you hear me washing a dish? That's what I'm doing. I used my pan this morning and I'm like, oops, I didn't wash it right. Well, and then it turned off the camera anyway, so there we go. Well, now it's not even my camera
Okay,
quit working.
so I got this cake pan from Goodwill for like $2. And it is my favorite cake pan in the world. Because I do so much more than just cakes in it. Like I literally cook everything in this pan now. I'm obsessed with it.
It almost looks like a pizza pan.
Deep dish. All right. So when we're ready, we're going to take our chicken out and put it into our baking pans. I feel like it's been marinated nicely. Oh my God, and it smells delicious.
Are you cooking the orange? I mean, the grapefruit also?
You know, I want to tell you guys to take the peels out, but I want to experiment and leave them in. So I don't know how it's going to turn. I think they're going to get cooked and they're going to get really nice, to be
I think
honest with you.
caramelize in there, especially if you have.
Yeah. 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 I'm going to leave them in. But if you're, if you don't want to, you don't have to. So I'm going to pop this in my oven on the other side. It's also at about 400. Ah, crap. And that's my problem. So I don't have enough space, so I'm just going to transfer pans. Whoops. There we go. Yes. So now I have both my veg and my meat in the oven. So I can start working
Did you ever do it
on
where
my,
you like stack them one above the other? Just
what do
like,
you mean?
oh, like I've had it where I couldn't fit, things on the shelves. So I'd like put one in and then put the other pan on top of the other and just basically stack a whole bunch of stuff in the oven.
Like a
You
Chinese
do what you,
steamer, like a Chinese steamer.
yeah. You got to do what you got to do to get things done. You know what I mean?
Especially when you're cooking. I grew up always cooking for, for big families, so it's never,
Mm,
you know.
yeah, never simple. All right, so I've got my pan. I have oil in the pan, and I'm gonna heat that guy up. It's 142, so let's check. And I don't know, like 20 minutes. We're probably going to be going over 38, 48, 58, 20 minutes.
Yep. I mean, that
So it'll
sounds
be
about right
ready.
to cook chicken to the proper temperature.
Yeah, it'll be ready in about 20 minutes. We can check it.
I'll get my thermometer out. And
Yeah,
I wonder if it cooks any faster on the stovetop.
yeah, but we want to cook it, what is it, 145 for 15 minutes for chicken? Can I get a yeah? Do we agree or disagree?
What's that?
Chicken, 145 for 15 minutes.
Isn't it pretty much now everything's 165?
Oh, yeah. Oh, 145 is for fish. My bad.
Just for simplicity's sake, it seems like pretty much all meats now they've just defaulted to 165.
Yeah.
But yeah, chicken itself you can do it at a lower temperature because it'll just stay more tender, right? But
You don't want to underdo chicken. You want to make sure it's fully cooked.
kill all off. The primary reason for the temperature is to kill what? Salmonella?
Yeah. Chicken's the one meat that you can't really cook raw. Well, that and pork as well.
Now, I understand in Europe they actually vaccinate the chickens against salmonella. So you can
I have no comment. I don't know about that, to be honest with you.
know that eggs in
I
Europe they can eat raw because the chickens are vaccinated.
Also, they don't always refrigerate them because they don't wash the shells like in the US.
Here, I'll show
yeah.
you. Let me see. Pull out an egg. I'm trying to find one.
Yeah. So I'm just frying up my smileys.
So,
It's
or
kind of
do you
cute.
want to stir your chicken? Because the ones in the center are getting a lot more heat than the ones on the
Yeah, you
edge.
got to turn that chicken over because it's cooking on the bottom
I will. I
side.
got my tongs here getting ready. I wanted to show you. This is an egg I just
Oh yeah.
local grown egg that hasn't been washed and it still has a feather on it.
Is that a beard or a toupee?
I don't know. It's a feather. As soon as they wash this egg, then it has to be refrigerated.
Yeah,
So if the egg
because the
has
shell,
it still
there's
has
a
a
coating over the shell.
yeah. So, but all right. Look at that. That one's already golden.
Yeah. And you're
But
doing it with the peels, huh?
yeah, I've just got it in there.
Nice.
Um, did anybody set a timer? I forgot to set a timer for my oven.
Mine's gonna be ready in about 18 minutes,
All right, so
but I'm cooking up my fries now
Or I think
because
yours, oh, sorry. Or I think your squash is going to be done a little quicker because your slices were thinner.
okay.
I just noticed the difference.
oh yeah, I agree with her. Yeah.
But yeah, I like that we didn't use oil because I've always been of the habit whenever I make um roasted vegetables in the oven, of tossing them with oil and then tossing them with their herbs. So
Oh, you did it without the oil?
I did.
Nice. And how are they looking? Can you see them?
I don't have a door on my oven, so, but
Wait, you don't have a door?
I don't have a
So the heat's
window.
just
I'm cutting up.
Oh,
This has nothing to do with the recipe right here. I'm just cutting up some veggies that need to be used, and I'm
that's
gonna make
okay.
some other stuff.
Go for it.
But I do have a lot more squash, so maybe I'll make some more squash. I like making a lot of stuff. It's very funny. Until recently, I never cooked in the oven because I always like had a hard time not watch. Like right now, the reason why I'm cutting this other stuff is because I'm twitchy to not open the oven and look at it.
Oh yeah, I figured you were bored.
Just like
That
because
happened.
I have a hard time. So usually what I do when I put something in the oven, I set the timer. I use an actual egg timer. I kind of Sunday morning is I try to do a little less technology on Sundays. So that became my habit of not pulling out my phone and setting the timer on Sunday mornings when I cook. And so I just got, but yeah, I just set the timer and go do something else. And, or go by the nose test. Like, what is
Oh
it?
fuck. I can't believe I did that again. Hold on, guys.
What do we forget? It's like, I think my chicken's almost ready already. Let's see here. The temperature. But, or maybe not. It's over 100 degrees already, but. Yeah, just like 110. So I still got some temperature to go. But. There we go. Has anybody else ever made citrus chicken? I've made lemon chicken, but and recently I started taking a medication that you're not supposed to have much acidic food. And so for my lemon chicken, I've been using lemongrass, which is not acidic and you still get the sour taste.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I have the most sensitive fire alarm. And like, I took the one out that's in my living room, and it was the one I have to have my bedroom door closed when I cook.
It's just like, I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, what is it like? You get that Chicken Little syndrome where it keeps going off and you just start ignoring it, right?
Well, one of them actually I took off from the living room because it would go off every time. But yeah, I try not to have that happen.
So mine in my bedroom would always go off, and now I have a shirt hung over it. And that stops it when I'm like, I don't have like a vent for my kitchen. So all this stuff that goes out used to have the alarm go off. But now that I got a shirt covering it, it doesn't. But
Yeah, I have a microwave fan and then the fan in my living room and a fan that like blows the air out. So I just have that set up that I jump into action and then go.
it seemed to
Surprise.
want to go over 110. But just going up slowly. Here, show us one of your smiley face potatoes. Those look almost like ghost instead.
Yeah,
like,
they're pretty light.
those are cute.
Yeah, I could probably do with finishing them off in the oven or having cooked them at a higher heat. But like you just noticed, I have a fire alarm, so there goes frying stuff.
As a cook, how do you like that type of electric stove? Be honest.
You know,
I
my
personally
mom
hate them.
spoiled me, uh, and I'm used to having like a gas stove with fire because I can char stuff directly on the fire.
So here, I'd
I feel
highly
like,
recommend getting one of these induction cookers.
oh, an induction burner, yeah.
Underneath this, I have a 4-burner stove that I have not used since last January, since I got this
Will
induction.
you buy me an induction burner for Christmas?
I don't know. It's just like
Yeah, you can buy them for like $50 or something these days.
$50. All right, Fred, send a link.
Do you want ketchup?
You just go to Amazon. The ones you and I have are like $100, but you can buy them probably the same thing basically
It's
for like
probably the
50,
same,
around
similar
50.
to how I wouldn't buy an
I
Instapot
haven't
because
tried
they were over
them. Let me know if
$100
they're
and
okay
they were
or
on sale
if
during
you
the
want me to
holiday.
cook them a little bit more. But I
Yeah,
have to
I've
go
never,
check it.
since
Don't
I
have
got my
much. That's
induction
fine.
burner, I've never turned on the other 3
I'm
burners
doing
of
another
my
batch right now.
cooktop.
I never thought that'd be the case because originally I had this over here, and then I had the table, the actual 4 burners. The only issue I have is when I need to cook more than one pot at the same time. But yeah, now I have this wooden cover that's covering the 4 burners.
Yeah. I got I think I showed you a picture. I got a bamboo one that covers 2 burners, which is just fine. That still leaves the other 2 burners available.
Oh, maybe I should do that. But
All right, so I've taken out my zucchini or whatever squash it is. It is ready. Take a look at that. And this is how I test its readiness. Can I do that?
oh, okay. So it's like
So it's
crunchy
not,
but soft.
yeah, yeah, it's not too hard, but it's also not soggy at all.
So yeah, my chicken's up to 145 already. So,
Nice.
but I guess let me take my squash out and test it. I think I was a little delayed getting mine in the oven compared to you. And I have like at least twice as much as you. So that means it takes longer to cook. Yeah, they're not.
Actually, halfway.
No, they're about halfway cooked. Wait, I forgot. I could have twisted it like you
Are
said.
they okay or no?
Instead, I tasted
I
it.
haven't really gotten a chance to really bite it.
But that's interesting. This piece of chicken's only at 100 versus this one was at 140. Fred, I think the issue is this pot is bigger than the burner.
Yeah, that can be an issue. Yeah.
But
Yeah, if you overstuff it, it won't cook evenly, but it's
although
okay.
this
But
particular
if you have a good pot, the heat will get more evenly distributed if you have a good pot, which you have.
right, this pot is supposed to be like an aluminum core, so it's supposed to be able to spread the heat evenly out. But I think it's just the thickness of the chicken. This one's thin, this one's thicker. So, but all right. And we're coming up on time, so now I forgot to ask the usual question. What is a spice or something you would not include in here? Like
Nothing. This is
It's your
In my opinion, the
personal
most versatile recipe. Personal preference, jalapenos.
Oh, okay.
They're too spicy. 0 out of 10 do not recommend jalapenos.
Oh, you don't like them at
But
all? I thought you
nope.
meant in this recipe.
Well, it would go for this
Interesting, because
recipe.
I can eat really, really hot peppers, but I tend to not like jalapenos because I think they're spicy, not hot, if that makes a different explanation. So, oh, look at
I
that.
am cheating a little bit.
How's that?
I'm I'm just searing my chicken on the hot pan here.
Just to brown it a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, I have so much juice. Look at that. I mean,
me too.
Well, it's
I
making the
think cooking it
sauce.
with
It's make
I think cooking with this grapefruit was a good idea.
I think so too. It actually pulled more juice out of the grapefruit.
Why don't you take a little taste of the juice there and see what flavors in there, or don't
You
burn
Yeah,
yourself.
taste it.
Don't burn yourself.
you think it's what do you call it? Well, I guess the never mind. I was gonna say, do you think it's warm enough? I mean, the liquid is boiling, so
No,
that's
I'm just
definitely
thinking.
above
I'm just
165.
curious. I'm just curious to how much flavor there is from the grapefruit rind.
All right, here we go. I thought it'd be a little more bitter. It's actually
How
pretty.
is it?
Yeah, I was concerned it might be bitter,
It's like,
but it's not. That's good.
no, it's not. But I think it would have been better with brown sugar than molasses, though, because it had.
I wonder who used brown sugar and who used molasses.
The sauce itself, but I think if you ate it with the chicken, if you ate a piece of the chicken with the sauce, it'll be fine. But the sauce itself, that molasses has, a really strong flavor. And I only put a tablespoon with the juice of, two grapefruits. But all right. Mm-hmm.
All right. So here is my final plate.
Oh, can you take a picture of it to send to me when you?
Yes.
That makes me smile. Hey.
Yeah, so I've got ketchup packets. And then there's the fries, the squash, and that's my chicken. No pink, nice white center.
There you go. Yeah.
So
The nice
how
thing
is
about that
everybody?
is it's pretty simple. It's not like I feel like we over flavor things.
Yep.
So, all right.
Yep.
Does anybody have any final questions? I'm ready to eat this.
Me too.
It's like, all right. You have any
Thank
final
you for
thoughts?
the thank
Yep.
you for the invite. This was fun. We'll do it
Yeah,
again.
let's do another couple shows about food security, like well, let's
Yeah, absolutely.
definitely
I'd like to wait till after December, just because that's when the
oh,
semester
I
ends.
I don't have an opening till February now, so don't worry.
Perfect. You want to do one for Valentine's Day? I'll try to make something for love.
Because part of it is, what do you get from a food pantry that people don't know how to make, or what is readily available that people think is really hard to make, but it's stuff that's easy to make. I was actually probably the thing that got me. I think I know about a lot of foods, Oh, let's take the stuff out of the oven. For me was
Good
tiramisu.
idea.
I thought,
Oh,
I was like,
My
oh,
favorite dessert.
it's actually really, really easy to make. All right. I'm going to wrap it up if you don't have any.
yeah, let's wrap it up. I'm ready to go.
I'm
I'm ready to eat.
Just like,
All right. Thank you
thank you
guys
so
for
much.
joining. You all have a nice afternoon.
You can stick
Missy, have
around
a
and
nice